life, right? But the Bible tells us, regardless of whether it's good or bad, you will get to learn to appreciate the good and the bad. So let us just spend a wee moment. Tell your neighbor what one of the things that you really appreciate in this week. Anything that you've experienced, something that you want to give thanks to. Okay? Just tell your neighbor, whoever next to you, your left, your right, just say the one thing that you are happy with, something that you want to give thanks to. The Bible says we humble ourselves and we give all of ourselves to God in worship. The Bible also in Romans chapter 12 has asked us to offer our body as a living sacrifice. And it's also said to us that we are to give all and worship the Lord, serve the Lord with all of our heart, with all of our mind, and all of our soul. What does that mean, brothers and sisters? That means giving God our 100%, giving God our best, because He deserves it. Let us all spend this hour or so to give God our uttermost best concentration of all. Let us all give God the best attention that He deserves. Let us all give God the best respect that He deserves. Let us all give it our all and don't waste it, don't spend it on any other thing. Try not to spend it on drifting your mind on other stuff. Use this moment to solely dedicate our best to God. Whether you are just standing here singing, whether you are here playing the piano, whether you're fixing the PowerPoint, whether you're just ushering, whether you're just sitting next to someone to be friends with someone. Let's give all of this our best to the Lord. Can we do that for Him today?
My prayer and my hunger and need, my God is the
We ask for your Spirit to be here among us today. Lord, we are here to worship you because you have given us so much, and you really, really do deserve so much from us. No matter how much we give you, it is never enough. But we know, Lord, that you don't look at that. You don't look at the appearances. You don't look at what we do, but you look into our heart. Our heart needs to be solely for you, and that is the true act of worship. That is all you ever ask for. Lord, I pray that you will be with each one of us here today. We are not here just for merely a conference sort of experience. We are here to be life-changing. We are here to hear your word, to have your word breathe through us, to help us, to encourage us, us throughout the week, throughout our lives, and to help us to be strong and to have a better relationship with you and to experience the miracle that you have prepared for us to experience. Lord, I pray that you will be with us today during this whole service. I pray all of this in your wonderful and precious name, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you so much, worship team, for the wonderful worship session. So good afternoon, Ignite family. We welcome you here again. I'd like you to just quickly turn to the person next to you and just say, we're so glad you're here. Alright, well, thank you so much for being here today. It's such beautiful weather outside. It's so warm, as you can see I'm wearing a t-shirt in the middle of winter, and I just can't, I feel so grateful that during winter time we still have this warmth, that it's not just outside. I really feel it within this room today. So today's sermon, which Francis is going to preach today, is called Greatest is Love, and I just wanted to share a verse with you guys from Ephesians chapter 4 verse 12, which says, whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. And I just think that is so wonderful, that whoever lives in love lives in God. Today I want to use a couple of examples of people who have shown unconditional love, and it's through the love of God that these people have love in them for everybody else and for this world. So these two people that I'd like to share about are my sisters. I thank God for giving me the stage this morning to embarrass them a little bit. So most of you guys know that I've grown up with two older sisters, and I have the privilege of being the younger sibling, where I get away with most of everything. The two older sisters get the brunt of the whole parenting thing, and then I just get away with being naughty sometimes. Not that naughty anymore. So firstly, I want to quickly talk about Rebecca. For some of you who don't know, it's her birthday today. So this is my present to her. Some of you guys will know that Rebecca and I are 18 months apart. So naturally, we grew up very close to one another, and we went to school together, and in fact Rebecca was probably one of my first friends, and I found, as a child, I found it really hard to make friends because I guess I grew up with my sisters in a church, and I was actually a very shy person. I actually remember when we were young, my mum used to say to me, oh, you should be more diaphon like Chelsea. And I was like, but I don't know how to be. I didn't know how to make friends and stuff. So when I went to primary school, I hung out with Rebecca for the first few months until my teacher said, you need to stop hanging out with your sister and make some friends of your own. One of my earliest memories of really feeling love from my sister was there's a time where I lost my lunch money. And I remember that was the worst thing that could happen to you when you're, 5 years old. You're like, I don't have lunch, I'm going to starve. But I remember the teachers went to Rebecca straight away to come and comfort me. I think I was like crying. And so she comforted me and said, look, I have my lunch money. We will buy lunch and we'll eat lunch together. And I remember that lunchtime we shared a donut together at school. So that was one of the first memories I remember of experiencing love from my sister. So I've seen Rebecca grow up to be a really faithful servant of God, and how her love for God and for people is undeniable. So the second person I'd like to talk about is my sister Lacca. So Lacca and Francis, as you know, they live incredibly busy lives. They have a huge social group, and they spend so much of their time serving our God in church and just giving to people all the time. And some of you may not know this, but one of my best friends had moved back from the UK, and she's found it really hard to adjust and to adapt back into New Zealand lifestyle, and also dealing with some mental health issues there. Lacca and Francis have, since the beginning of the year, have been driving my friend, my not primary school, high school friend, to and sometimes from work as well every single day. And through that act of love, they talk to her, they play some worship music, and they share some things about their lives together to give her hope and to give her some encouragement to get through her day. I talk to my friend every day, and she tells me it's a struggle every single day to, be doing what she does, and she finds it really hard. But she's also shared with me that her morning with Lacca and Francis is a very precious time. She says Francis will make her a coffee, and they'll be like, here's your morning coffee every morning. And it's those small things, those small acts of kindness really shows love. And I'd like to just, thank you guys for doing that for my friend as well. So I mentioned that I have 2 sisters, but actually I have 3. And my third person that I wanted to talk about is Sharon. And I shared this with the Ignite team, and it's a little advertisement for Sharon as well. Don't cry just yet. That Sharon will be doing her sharing next week. What was the topic again? I forgot. Strangely peaceful. Okay, and Sharon has shared with quite a few of us about some really arduous and difficult times in her life, and how God's love is throughout these times has just been undeniable. And one thing that she shared with me is that throughout these darkest times and most difficult times, that God's love has never been more real to her. One of the things that I remember was that we came back from Queenstown from one of our friends' weddings, and Chris and I were insanely sick, the both of us. We'd never been that sick in our lives before. We live in a little 2-bedroom apartment, unit, 1 bathroom, and we were both vomiting from both ends for 48 hours non-stop. We couldn't get out of bed. We ended up having to sleep in separate rooms to, have some space or something like that. And I remember there was an afternoon where Sharon got some really bad news, and that day, I didn't know this yet, but that afternoon, after she had received that really bad news, I heard a knock at my door, and I couldn't even get out of bed. But then I found a little package a couple hours later that Sharon had left a few bottles of coconut water and some bananas, and a really sweet note wishing me well and that to look after myself. And on that day, she needed to look after herself, and yet her act of love and kindness towards me was just unreal, and that was one thing that really blew me away. So I'd like to just thank my sisters for showing this love to me, to all of us, and to so many other people that you have impacted. So in saying that, this love comes from our God, and this love is, we have this love within us because God has loved us first. This reminds me of things that God does for us. Sometimes they're small, sometimes we see them as huge things, but it's those times where it's very small that we sometimes don't remember to thank God for loving us. So anyway, I'd like to pass the mic to Francis, who will be preaching on the sermon of Greatest is Love.
Thank you very much, Carol. I guess you did a brilliant job with introducing what I'm going to talk about today. I believe so much in this topic, and I believe every single word we said, every single tiny little act that we did, either denied it or endorsed it. It's all about love. It's all about love. And that's the reason why It's actually not my idea to have everybody sit together like this, but well, our brother and sister, we thought of, hey, maybe we can do a little shuffling around and get people to sit closer to each other, which is in this winter time, it's not a bad idea at all, isn't it? We're all keeping each other's warm. Love is beautiful, love is beautiful. I love to talk about love. But it's probably not the kind of background, the kind of culture I'm coming from. You know, as an Asian, we seldom talk about love explicitly. Hugging, kissing, it's probably not the kind of thing we can observe among the Asian community that much, especially between mom and daughter and son, father. We don't do that kind of stuff, but then we rather like to convert it, materialize it into gift, into present, or maybe as simple and direct as just giving out cash. You know, we Asian, we do this red packet. We put money in the red packet and then we give it out to the ones that we love during the Chinese New Year. In fact, it can happen even it's not around the Chinese New Year time. You can do it at any kind of occasion. And like birthday, graduations, having a baby, you can just pass out those red packets, even if you can't find one convenient excuse at all. You just pass out like giving out lucky wishes to the one that you love. How good is that? I used to get it a lot from my grandma when I was a kid. I loved that idea, even though I remember my dad, he's secretly dropping in those coins, those money into my piggy bank so that I can get my Christmas present at the end of the day. It's very sweet indeed, and as a kid I have to admit that I welcome that kind of idea instead of loving, instead of kissing and hugging and well, whoever not. Converting the material, converting the love which should be in a more natural or regional form into materializing it into practical form, money and cash is definitely a lot better. But then brothers and sisters, do not stop there. Do not stop at the materialization of love. Never deceived by the price tag attached. Whatever items there, whatever the gift or presents you got there, can never truly represent the love that drives that kind of action. Brothers and sisters, look beyond that. Look beyond the diamond ring your husband gave you. Look beyond the mere bread and butter that your mom or dad brought home every single day. If you look deeper, you will realize that the love that drives those kind of action worth a lot more than anything else that you can find on earth to try to represent it. And this is what we are going to talk about today. Next slide, please. Which is 15 shekels of silver and 1.5 homer of barley. So why are we talking about this? Is this some sort of payment? What's for? In the Old Testament, we have this man married a woman, not of a usual kind though. They got married, they have children, and then one day the woman chooses to leave him, leave the children, leave the family. And she actually chose to run away with another man. And in fact, according to the Bible, she ran away with many different men. The word that they use is harlotry, pretty much the kind of like a prostitute. So she chose to walk down a path like a prostitute, chasing after her own pleasure. And then one day, she spent all her charm and all her beauties and even end up in some sort of slavery. And then this man, her husband, choose to buy her back, choose to restore her, bring her back home, and love her again. And this is the price he paid. 15 shekels of silver and 1.5 homer of barley. So, how much do they worth exactly? Like, silver is the silver, and we know it's precious metal. But then 1.5 homer of barley, what is that? In fact, back in the days, 1.5 homer of barley is pretty much the portion of amount equivalent to another 15 shekels of silver, roughly. And then we are talking about a total of 30 shekels of silver. Around 11 10 grams each shekel of silver. So add up together 350 or 360 total grams of silver metal. And in today's price, you can correct me if not, in today's price, I believe that's pretty much just under 300 New Zealand dollar. It's not that much, eh? But then obviously we cannot compare it this way. It's not a fair comparison in today's term like this. In fact, 30 shekels of silver equivalent to pretty much half a year's salary of an ordinary labor back in the day of the northern kingdom of Israel. Yes, this man that we're talking about today is Hosea and his not so dearly wife, Gomer. Brothers and sisters, I cannot tell if half a year's salary is big or small in your eyes. But then if we look at the Bible, there is in fact a price tag attached to it. If we look into the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verses 32, we've got this idea, if anybody is to be purchased back from slavery, that is the price to pay, 30 pieces of silver, 30 shekels of silver. And then, but I would wonder if that master running that slavery trade there would be negligent enough to look up the Bible in order to come up with that recommended price by Mosaic law. Maybe it is just a bidding process which went up to that price, 30 shekels of silver, which is, I'm sorry, inconveniently for Hosea, he hasn't got enough. He didn't have enough money. Think of this, brothers and sisters. Hosea was thinking, okay, I need to save my wife. I need to buy her back. But then all I've got in the pocket there is only 15 shekels of silver. That's not enough. What am I going to do? Or maybe some of you will be thinking, hey, that's convenient enough, isn't it? Sorry, Gomer, I don't have enough money. So you're wrong. What do you expect from me then? You choose to leave me that day, you choose to leave the family, and then now you expect me to buy you back? I'm sorry, you are on your own. But that wasn't like it. Hosea wasn't like that at all. He was thinking hard, he was struggling. I need to save my wife, I need to buy her back. What am I going to do? I have only 15 pieces of silver. How am I going to make up for the rest? Oh, wait a minute. I have somebody at home in my kitchen. Maybe I can bring them all out, and maybe they would consider it as equivalent amount to make up for the rest of the silver shekels. Maybe this way I can save my wife, I can buy her back there. Brothers and sisters, can you see? Can you see? Whoever seeking after that payment, that 30 shekels of silver, in order to buy, in order to redeem this woman, this prostitute, this Gomer, she worth 30 pieces of silver. Or even to Gomer herself, she would have thought that I need 30 pieces of silver in order to buy back my life, in order to get back my freedom. Or even to the whole world, if anybody would care, this woman will worth only 30 shekels of silver. Brothers and sisters, remember Judas, the one who betrayed Jesus. Do you recall how much he earned that day by betraying Jesus? 30 pieces of silver. To Judas. That's the amount, that's good enough reward for him to betray Jesus, to betray his master. Or to the priests, or to the Jewish elders. That is the price, 30 pieces of silver, in order to nail that Jesus that they so much want to nail on the cross. But then to Jesus, it is his very own life. It is his very own life. He's ready to lay it down. He's ready to hang it up on the cross in order to save his people. Hosea is ready to forego everything that he has. All the 15 shekels of silver, all the barley at home. He is so ready to give it all up in order to save his unfaithful wife. Love is beautiful, right? So what exactly is love? Why love? It seems like it includes so much other meaning that contained in it. I believe every generation has its own way of expression towards this idea. Fairy tale How about Beauty and the Beast? Everybody know that story, right? Everybody heard of this amazing story about love. Love beyond ordinary kind of beauties, isn't it? No matter how ugly you look, you can still love and be loved. But then I guess last year that the latest installment by Hollywood cannot really deliver that idea, isn't it? They make the Beast so wonderfully looking, so charming, even better looking than the Prince himself, isn't it? So, but then there was another one, the Pixar movie animation Shrek, many years ago again. I believe that movie can really deliver that idea. You know, that lady character in Shrek, she chose to become an orc in order to be with an orc. How lovely is that? And then we have Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, last night TV1 or TV2, Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, cross-star lover, so desperate to be together, even to death. And then we have Titanic, building up pretty much on the same line of idea. So much want to own that moment of love, even though it is short, even though it won't last long. Those are really beautiful stories, isn't it? And I believe they share one common thing: sacrifice. There was another movie. I don't know if you watched it. It's many years ago again. It was played by that the TV series NCIS. That Antonio something, that guy there, he was a very pretty boy back then. So this movie is called Vertical Limit. It's talking about rock climbing, mountain climbing. So right at the beginning of the movie, his father was rock climbing with his son and daughter. And an accident happened. They all end up hanged up in the middle of a cliff over a mountain. And then by only one single rope, which is hardly enough to carry the weight of 3 people. So this father chose to cut himself off. He fell in order to save his son and daughter. How very touching is that? A father chose to sacrifice himself in order to save his own son and daughter. I believe we are not unfamiliar with that idea, because every single day it happened. Not necessarily somebody had to die, but then if you can look at your mom and dad, every single day they make choices. They choose to make choices to sacrifice certain parts of themselves so that we can get to enjoy our life. Isn't it? This is love, brothers and sisters. Without sacrifice, without redemption. Jesus himself, he chose to lay down his life in order to redeem us. Redemption is not possible without sacrifice. Jesus chose to hang his life up on the cross in order to save us, not just to show us that how great or how amazing he is, but he did that in order to show us how precious we are in his eyes, how wonderful we are in his eyes, that he wanted to sacrifice for us all. Brothers and sisters, I believe I cannot make it even more obvious if by now we still cannot see the necessity, if we still have trouble to see such a redemption and amazing price Jesus Christ paid to sacrifice himself on the cross. If we can have a chance to read the Bible, chapter 1 to 3 of the book of Hosea, you will realize it's talking about a kind of relationship. The relationship of God and his people, the northern kingdom of Israel, which also reflects to the kind of broken relationship that we have with our God, even till now. Even till now. God used Hosea as an example. How he forgoes everything in order to save his unworthy wife. He, God himself, did exactly the same as well to save the people that defy him. And he's not only paying to redeem them from the slavery, from the bondage of sin, but he's also choosing to love them, just as how Hosea did. Hosea paid the price to set his wife free. Look at this, brothers and sisters. Hosea did not do that out of pity for his wife. He was not like, okay, Gomer, seeing you like this so sad. I'm going to pay the price for you. I'll set you free. But then that's it. I'm doing no business with you anymore. From now on, you go your way and I go mine. But then Hosea wasn't like that at all. Wasn't like that. He chose to bring her back. He chose to love her again, even though she's unworthy. He chose despite all the hurts that she had caused him, despite all the shame that he had to bear with over the past many years because of her dishonesty, of her treachery. Yes, he chose to love her back. And I like to use this word again. He chose to love her again. How many of us can do that? This is love. Tell me, how do we name this kind of noble, super generous, self-defying act of kindness? We call it forgiveness. Forgiveness, brothers and sisters. Love empower us to forgive. Love empower us to forgive. You see, to be able to forgive, that's the kind of love, not looking at the sinful nature, not focusing on the unfaithfulness of the object of that love, Gomer, Israel, the whole human population there. It has to be the kind of love based on the character of the subject, all the holiness, all the goodness, and all the beautiful perfection from God. Because God is love. God is love, and we inherit that love in our life, and we can channel that love through as well. Let me say it again. Forgiveness, not based on the status of the subject, but not based on the status of the object, but all based on the character of the subject, which offer that kind of love. Brothers and sisters, our neighbors, your enemies, they can be forgiven as long as we will it. And that kind of willingness to forgive cannot be driven by anything else but love only. But love only, because we inherit that love from our God. And that's why we can do that. Probably not even Hosea aware of himself. When he made the price to redeem Gomer, certain part of it actually represent the kind of forgiveness he had for her. Go back to the story there. There is this tradition passing back down from many years ago when Moses set up the law. Whenever there is a suspected unfaithful wife, she will then be brought to the test in front of the priest with the body holding in her hand. And she will make a vow. She will declare that I'm innocent. But then if she lies, the water that she's going to drink later on, which is dipped with the barley in there, will turn bitter. And it will weaken, it will make her stomach sick and will weaken her legs as well. Go back to the story of Hosea and Gomer. So that big portion of barley, in fact 1.5 homer, we're talking about 300 gallons of barley there. He offered that barley in order to redeem his unfaithful wife, which pretty much means he is not going to test his wife anymore. He's not going to make her stomach sick or make her legs weaken, and most of all, he's definitely not going to shame her anymore. He is ready to forgive her. He is ready, despite all the hurts that she had caused him. He chose to forgive Gomer just as she is now and without condition. Hosea chose to redeem Gomer, chose to forgive her just as she is now and without condition. Silver is about the price to redeem, and that portion of barley making up the meaning of forgiveness. Forgiveness, brothers and sisters. I believe together we can see a very powerful picture of love. Love which is capable to redeem. Love which is capable to set somebody free from slavery, to set somebody free from the bondage of sin. But then not stopping there. Not stopping there. To redeem somebody is good. Yeah, I set you free from slavery. I set you free from the bondage of sin. But then that's it. Okay, you can go now. Yeah, free yourself. I have nothing to do with you anymore. Not like that. We redeem somebody and then we choose to bring them back into our life again. And that's the kind of love we are talking about. That's the full, comprehensive package of redemption. Where do I get that idea from? Jesus. He did exactly that for us. He chose to redeem us with His own life, and then He chose to bring us back, to set somebody free from the bondage of sin, and then to get them born back to us by love, free from sin, born back by love. And this is how we can love. This is how we can forgive. This is the full package of redemption, brothers and sisters. We choose to forgive. Redemption without any more trace of hatred, but only through love, only through the door of forgiveness. Despite all the hurts that they have caused us, despite all no matter how they trespass us in our life, we count them no more. We are ready to forgive. We are ready to redeem. And then we are ready to bring them back into our life. This is God. Did the same that to us as well. This is not easy, brothers and sisters, I believe. It sounds like the hardest thing on earth. It's not sweet at all. If we believe love is sweet most of the time, yes it is. But then when we look into this story there, we pick up the trace of love, which is different from our usual thinking of love. And it's even painful as well, both mentally and physically. But then this is love. Let us look at the very last slide here. I love these verses. I love these verses. Let us all read together. Ready?
Love does not long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. Is not puffed up. Does not behave rudely. Does not seek its own. Is not provoked. Thinks no evil. Does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails.
Thank you very much. This is a beautiful verses. And I believe right from the beginning, it tells the story. Love suffers long. Love means suffering, brothers and sisters. Let us all pray. Father, thank you. Thank you for showing us what love is all about. It's not about taking, it's all about giving. And you demonstrate that amazing love towards us through your only begotten Son, Jesus. And from now on, we are the ambassador of love. And for you ordained every single one of us the priesthood before your altar of salvation. We will bring people before you through using our lives as a testimony of your love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Sorry, wait a second. Go back to the verses. Sorry, I just realized there is something more I want to share. You know this verses here, this love. You know, this is the NIV version. You know, in the King James version, the word in place of love, you know what that word is? Charity. Charity. Why? Why charity? Should it not be love? Before you question that, you have to realize the actual Greek word used in the original scriptures there. And I guess you can make the best guess. Lacca just voice that out. In the original Greek word syntax, the word in place of love there is agape. But then, was it not agape means love? I believe love is only a very convenient and simple word to use to elaborate that idea. The word agape means a lot more than we could have ever imagined in our life. Think of it this way, brothers and sisters. We have on earth, we have many different relationships. We have a father and son, we have parents and children, we have a husband and wife, and we have friends, and then we also have employers and employees, which is master and slave back then. And so we have all sort of different kind of relationship there. And most often, we choose to let the relationship to dictate the love that we want to share with them. if we do it this way, brothers and sisters, we try to define different group of people in our life. So this group here, I'm going to use that much love on them, and this group here, I'm going to love them this way. We allow the relationship to dictate the love, and that sets boundaries. We decide how we are going to love them. But then if it was the other way around, if we choose to let love to dictate the relationship, let love to speak into our hearts, to let us know how we are going to love the one next to me. That is agape, brothers and sisters. Sounds like I'm going to move and talk about another parable of the Bible, but we'll talk about that next time. All right, thank you.
Francis, for that wonderful sharing about what love is. I really love the ending about how love is about charity. Another word for love is charity. And my challenge for you guys this week, or next week, is to think of one way, not only think of it, but to act it out as well, of how you can show love towards somebody else. It might be something massive, like forgiving somebody that has hurt you before in the past, or it could be those small acts of kindness, like making somebody a coffee in the morning, or even sending them a text message to ask them how they are and how they're doing. Earlier today, I just won't take too much more of your time, I shared about how I have 3 sisters. I wanted to say the last one, I actually have 4 sisters. And my 4th sister is this wonderful woman called Vivian, who's hugging my nephew. And again, it's those small things. Every single week, she's cradling him for 2 hours in a row, putting him to sleep. And a small act of kindness that she did for me 7 years ago. She's looking at me like, what? I was going through a really tough time at work, and she dropped off these rainbow cupcakes. And with those cupcakes, she wrote a little note that said, I heard you're a bit down. I hope these cheer you up. Remember that rainbows do appear on gloomy days, and that is something that has always stuck with me. And again, it's that small act of kindness, that small act of doing something for somebody else that has stuck with me for years and years and years and gave me hope at a time that was difficult, so thank you. Alright, so next up we have offering. Alright, so remember, offering is something that is a responsibility for Christians. If you do not believe in God, feel free to just pass the basket around. I will just do a quick prayer for offering if you wouldn't mind just bowing your heads down. Dear our Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us all together in your house safely today. We've been so blessed by your presence here today. Thank you for your love and your mercy on us, Father. I pray that everyone here will look into their hearts and act in obedience to your word. May we give not to become richer, though may we give because we simply love you. Accept this tithing and offering today, and we love you, and we pray in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Alright, so just for some church news. Okay, we have this exciting thing called Connect Groups coming up. So if you weren't here last week, we're just going to quickly play the video. Thank you, Jason. More information next few weeks. So basically these Connect groups are about bringing groups together with people of similar stages or hobbies or things like that, and the whole idea is that we do life together and through God. So if you would like to join one of these Connect groups, feel free to speak to one of us here, and you'll get some more information in the next few weeks. Cool, so next up we have this thing called Rice Rally. So who was here 3 weeks ago when Pastor Steve Chong came and spoke to us? So he's the director of the Rice Movement. So there's a rally coming on the 16th of August. Yep, and where's the information for that? Okay, so there is a rally coming up, and I think it costs, do we know? How much?
$25, I think.
$25, and it costs here we go. Very special speaker, Pastor Francis.L as well. Some of you guys would have heard him preach before. So again, speak to one of us if you'd like more information. There will be a group of us going to the Rice Rally, so you're more than welcome to join us. Okay, next up. Next week, as I mentioned earlier today, that we have a lovely sister Sharon who will be sharing her testimony. And her topic is called Strangely Peaceful. So be here for it. It's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be amazing sharing. Next week as well is our end of month lunch. So we have Andrea and Annalise's mum who will be making some great Vietnamese treats for us. So think of like the fresh spring rolls, and it's called mong, I think, which is like the grilled pork vermicelli salad. So if you will be joining us, please let us know on the Facebook Ignite event page, just so we know how much to prepare for. It will cost $10 per person, or $5 if you are new to Ignite, and $5 if you bring a friend as well. Okay, so I'd like to just give the mic back to Francis to do our closing prayer.
Alright, let's all pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much. You've given a message to love, and you demonstrated yourself as well. through your precious Son, we all get saved. Through His love, we are no longer slavery of sin. We are set free now. It's all because of your forgiveness. And you choose to bond us together in your Son. And through every single brother and sisters of our church there, we are born together as well. We share the same kind of love. Thank you, Lord. Thank you so much. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
So we all stand and we say to the person next to you, it's a blessing to have service here with you today. It's a blessing for you to sit next to me today. Shall we all say that? 有個坐大嚟，我中意個大喐咯，就嚟 Kennedy 就嚟。
Worship your